Welcome back to the channel, folks, in the first of this 5-minute plant family series aimed at the beginner or newcomer to botany, where we look at the general characteristics of each individual plant family. In today's video, we will be looking at the very general features and characteristics which we can commit to memory and apply in the field to determine the plant family. So it follows knowing your plant families is the first step in systematic identification, where plants can be differentiated down to a binomial given in the Latin form of genus and species, i.e. 2 parts. There are of course times when the features and characteristics of plants are so similar we need to drill down using dichotic keys, which we find in expert volumes such as Clive Stace, The Flora of the British Isles. And we'll be dealing with dichotic keys in more advanced episodes. In today's episode we will be looking at the Fabaceae, which was formerly known as the Leguminosae, or the legumes, or in simple plain English, the pea family. In the plant kingdom there are many families, of which the Fabaceae are the third largest family in the world, next to the Orchidaceae and the Asteraceae, as can be seen on the slide. Generally speaking, the Fabaceae are mainly annuals or perennials, although they can be trees, shrubs or climbers. And generally, the Fabaceae in tropical areas are namely woody, and in temperate areas they are largely herbaceous. So let's take a look at the range of categories in which the Fabaceae present, starting with wild plants, garden plants and agricultural crop. In this compilation we catch a glimpse of the fruits, seed pods and seeds, which very often can give us clues to differential identities in closely related plants. There are also a range of Fabaceae familiar to gardeners, such as the early spring laburnum, the sweet pea and the lupin. The Fabaceae are a very important agricultural family, containing plants such as peanuts, sweet pea, the common bean, Phaseolus vulgaris, chickpea, lentils and lucerne. The Fabaceae, for example lucerne, play a very important role in fixing nitrogen from the air into the soil, increasing its fertility. This task is brought about in tiny root nodules of the plant, where the nitrogen fixing bacteria or rhizobia lock in the nitrogen from the air. Turning now to the flower morphology of these pea-like flowers, which are only symmetrical in one plane, i.e. bilaterally symmetrical, which means they are zygomorphic. Typically the Fabaceae have 5 petals arranged in a characteristic form. The flower is composed of one upper large petal known as a banner or flag petal and 2 side petals known as wings. The lower keel contains 2 fused petals into a tube, of which there are 10 anthers and 1 style. The ring of sepals or calyx also forms a small tube. The ovary is superior, that is to say located above the other flower parts, and once ripened they form a characteristic pod or legume. These pods or legumes split along both sides in hot dry weather, expelling their pea-like seeds by a process of torsion. On hot dry sunny days this process can be audibly heard when stood next to gorse. They are also Fabaceae which do not split and contain only one seed. The leaves of the Fabaceae are either trifoliate, as in the case of black medic, tall meliate and the clovers, or they are pinnate in structure, as is the case with bush vetch and many of the vetchlings. Terminal leaflets in vetches and vetchlings are often modified to assist them in climbing. In the Fabaceae, where the leaf stalk or petiole joins the stem, there is usually a pair of stipules which can be either leafy, as in the case of bushvetch, or sheaved, as in the case of clover. Although the inflorescences of clovers are tightly packed, they still retain the same flower morphology as the larger laburnums and gorse examples. So let us summarise the family. If the plant contains pea-like flowers with the standard wing and keeled petals, usually 5. If the fruits are pods and split to yield seed, and the leaves are either trifoliate or pinnate in arrangement with stipules, and leaves alternate up the stem, then the plant is likely to be of the family Fabaceae.